formally recognize winners of major college-wide awards. And this afternoon, I'm pleased to present the Aubrey Hagar Distinguished Teaching Award. It was established in 1988. The Aubrey Hagar Distinguished Teaching Award is named in honor of a respected teacher, mentor, and innovator, Aubrey Hagar, who fostered the pursuit of excellence in teaching and learning. He was here just before I came here. I think he left in 1986 or something like that. It was around that time. He was a member of the college's founding board. So he was part of the board when the college was founded in 1967. And then he was hired to provide leadership in the college for more than 20 years in roles that included Director of Academic and College Planning, which is really equivalent. He was really like the VP Academic then, as well as Director of Strategic Planning. So now we're going to let you know who actually won this award. It goes to Karl Weiss of the School of Health and Life Sciences. He could stand up there. Okay. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Wow. Almost a standing ovation here, almost. Okay, here we go. Okay, wow. Okay. I think there's some love here in the crowd there, Karl. I think this is the first time that we've announced, and look, I want to make it clear here, we've had a lot of very good winners, but obviously you've had a big impact on people on a day-to-day basis. So, let me talk about him for a minute here. But thanks for standing up for Karl. And he's a respiratory therapist. He joined the Conestoga in 2007. I remember that because he came from SAIT, Southern Alberta Institute of Technology in Calgary, and I remember interviewing him at the time. And he was brought in here, and he's been instrumental in developing the use of simulation. I don't think we really were involved in simulation before. You were one of the, pardon? Yes, he got this simulation going. He's played an active role in program accreditation and curriculum design, and many of the resources he has designed have been used extensively throughout the School of Health and Life Sciences, the School of Community Services, and beyond. He also continues to work part-time as a respiratory therapist at Cambridge Memorial Hospital, and obviously students have benefited greatly from Karl's practical and effective teaching approach, which draws upon his vast experience, both here and also out west. He takes into account the psychological impact of simulated-based training on students. In fact, I was surprised to learn, sometimes when a nurse or another student's working on a patient that they're trying to save, and the patient, I'm talking about not a real patient, on the simulator dies, the students get quite emotionally upset about this. They get really agitated. Not only they made a mistake, perhaps, but they get involved emotionally, which is very, very important if you're going to practice in the field. He takes into account as I said, the psychological impact, ensuring appropriate measures are in place exactly to address potentially disturbing or triggering scenarios. His mentorship and lessons are recalled by many alumni years after graduating. He uses engaging and humorous methods to help students deal with the pressures of respiratory therapy training, and has developed gamification techniques to assist with learning. Karl is always available to answer questions outside of teaching hours, and also serves as a faculty advisor on the student-run Conestoga Respiratory Therapy Federation. In the community, Karl is active in provincial and national organizations dedicated to the field of respiratory therapy, and through his more than 25 years in the field, Karl has had several presentations and publications to his credit. I now ask Karl to come forward to accept this award.
got something written here. Firstly, that is not a simulation. This is very, this is very real. Okay, I do have a limited amount of time here, and students will probably just laugh at me because I always say that. We'll try to keep our debriefs in line, and you know I just go over, but I will try not to. Thank you. President Tibbetts, and academic leadership, and fellow faculty and staff, graduates, and honored guests. I stand before you today quite humbled and honored in receiving this award and having this opportunity to share in the spotlight, this is your spotlight, and the success of each and every graduate here. So thank you for that. I recognize that this award has been generously endorsed by my students and peers, and it is a moment in my 25-year career as an educator that I will cherish forever. The predominant emotion that I experience now and have had for the past few weeks is one of immense gratitude. Gratitude for the place that I work, gratitude for my role, gratitude for the people that I work with, for whom I would not be here in front of you today if they were not here. And on that note, I would like to start some thank yous. But I'd also like to take a moment and just recognize the other nominees for this award, which I don't know, but they know themselves. To be nominated by your peers is a huge honor to be cherished, so congratulations. So thank you, President Tibbetts and the academic leadership of Conestoga College for setting the stage here for success. Not this stage, I mean a figurative stage. For investing in facilities and resources and for believing in us, the faculty, to deliver high-quality education and preparing students for their chosen professions and careers. The sense of community at Conestoga, the positivity that I've experienced here is second to none. Thank you also to the Cowan family, the Cross family, and the Moats family for their substantial donations over the years to support simulation education, and we could not do this without you. To Sandra Schelling and Natalia Ronda, and for their leadership in all things health sciences, thank you, and also acknowledge Kristen Forbes, our program SSO, for her tireless help, and Bella Ferreira, academic chair of the RT program, for her kindness and encouragement, and for surprising me with a fake meeting to announce this award. It really caught me off guard. I'd like to thank my professional mentors through my 30 years as an RT, Jill Randall, Marlene Rasek, Ronra Rostock, and Dr. Paul Finch for their lessons in leadership, which I carry with me every day. I cannot say enough about the incredible RT faculty team that I work with. Gino DePinto, Pam Hall, Tim Lepage, Jennifer Barton. You are all role models for me, and I am so blessed to work with you. And also our part-timers, Phoebe, Jess, Megan, Vanessa, Will, and Tom, whose excellence in teaching is only paralleled by their success in their other jobs in the community. And incidentally, 5 out of 6 of them are Conestoga alum, and we're very, very proud of that. A special shout out to Pam Hall for leading this nomination. It is a lot of work, and I am so forever grateful for this generous act of kindness. Thank you also to Kyla Rodabilski for carrying the torch for clinical simulation and innovation. Your leadership continues to inspire. And to our sim specialists, Jamie, Selena, Liz, and to Rob Vanderhayden, Chris Bueller, and the nurse technologists, those teams are incredible at keeping the engines of practice learning going. I'd like to thank many of my former students and my current students that I've worked with over the years, because you're the reason that I'm here. You inspire me, and you allow me to bring my best game. And to my family who is here, my sisters Sue and Matt and Robin, for your love and support over the years, thank you. And my father Larry, and for my mother Margareta, who cannot be here because of her advanced Alzheimer's, but I want to thank you both for nurturing my natural curiosity of the world and raising me with books and stories and music and a healthy appreciation for science and the scientific process and education. And my dad is an incredible teacher, and I've learned a lot of patience and how to listen from him. So he's right there. Can we just... I'd also like to thank my kids. Do you remember your names? I just lost my place. That's hilarious. My kids Sophie and my daughter Sophie and my son Owen and their partners Ben and Jules for indulging me as your dad and just allowing me to quote way too much Lord of the Rings and Star Wars at every activity we do. And of course, my incredible and my wonderful wife and partner in life, Jordana, for your unwavering support and your love and your seemingly bottomless patience. Although I might have found the bottom of her patience, but she has allowed me to be the best creative self I can be. Now, when I was asked about this speech, I was given the advice to share the why. Why do I do what I do? I'll start with the second reason, which is I feel that education really should be engaging and appropriately fun. And so my goal is to try to create positive moments of memory. I've tried poetry, I've tried some dancing, right? Everyone knows my dancing, and some pretty intense games of blood gases and dragons. But and the students like that. But the primary reason for what I do is I feel very passionate about preparing students for their experience in the real world. And this stems from an experience I had 30 years ago. So imagine this, 30 years ago, I was a student respiratory therapist going through my clinical, and I was young and prepared. I studied my pharmo, my patho, my mechanical ventilation, my oxygen therapy. I felt, I'm ready for this, I can do this. And was I ever wrong? Because in 3 days, I witnessed more than one cardiac arrest, encountered patients on oxygen, patients on mechanical ventilators, patients who were short of breath, and I became very quickly aware that these patients were people, were persons, and they watched me when I was assessing them. They watched me when I was adjusting their mechanical ventilators. I experienced real humanity, loss, grief, fear, frustration, loneliness. I experienced the real human condition, and I was terrified. I was not prepared for that context at all. The third day, I wasn't even sure whether I was be a respiratory therapist, and I was very lucky that I had some great preceptors that helped me through that, and I survived it. But what was interesting was when I speak with my colleagues of that same vintage, we could say it now, that my experience was not unique. It's how things were done. You were trained and you were kind of thrown into the clinical setting. It was a sink or swim kind of moment. And I will never forget how jarring that experience was for me. And I always wondered if there was a better way to approach that. And so fast forward 10 years, 2005, I was teaching out in Calgary. I was lucky enough to attend this 1-week comprehensive workshop at the Center for Medical Simulation at Harvard MIT. And it was a transformative course for me, and it basically set the next 2 decades for myself, because I had found my calling. Because simulation is a technique. It's not just the technology. When I arrived here in 2007, there was a few of us here as well that were familiar with that approach. But I started to train and share what I learned with faculty and staff, this methodology of learning. And together we built curriculum to support simulation training across all programs, from nursing, RT, paramedic, and the whole suite of health science programs. Because clinical immersive simulation, you think of it, it's kind of like a theater with cameras and a stretcher, and there's this mannequin that breathes and blinks and talks, and there's actors that play the role of nurses and doctors and family. And we invite students into that to solve real-world clinical problems. And they also then have to contend with the human condition. And this enables the students to practice empathy, respect, teamwork, communication, a chance to develop real behavioral competence that prepares them for the real world. We had a testimony from a nursing student a while ago. She attended something we call Crisis on the Wards, which is, as you can imagine, is a simulation about a crisis on the wards. Somebody who, when you're caring for and they're not doing very well. And what was interesting is she attended that, and a few months later, she had that happen to her in her clinical rotation, and she knew what to do. She activated a code blue, she started chest compressions, she enabled the team, and they arrived, they resuscitated that patient, and she contacted us, and she said, what happened in sim? It happened to me in real life. But the amazing thing was the doctor came up to me afterwards, and they said, you're the student nurse that called the code blue? You saved this patient life. You're amazing. And for me, that was what I knew I wanted to do, is prepare students for the real world, allow for them that opportunity to really get used to that human condition. And I'm not alone. The faculty of all the programs that you're in work hard to prepare you for the real world. And so part of my goal today here is to provide some advice to you as you're going out. You're prepared, right? You're well-trained. You're armed with your content, your degree, diploma, your certificate. So here's a few lessons from simulation that I'd like to pass on to you. First one, we talk about maintaining situational awareness, avoiding fixation and error, right? But basically, what I'd like to say to you is pay attention. I mean, you obviously did pay attention because you're here and you're graduating, which is fantastic. But really, pay attention out there, because there is a paradigm shift that is occurring in the world. The advent of AI is as transformative as the industrial age, the information age, the communication age. It will transform us as a society, as a species on this planet, and how we do things, right? Now, you are very well prepared. You have a Conestoga degree, diploma, certificate. You are ready, right? What's interesting is AI is going to change that context over the next little while. It's already doing that. We know this. So this is why I say pay attention, because you're well prepared. Look and consider, how is AI going to affect your work? How is AI going to affect your industry? And try to think about, what is that difference in between what I know now and where I need to go in order to be successful with this new thing, right? And that leads me to the second piece of advice and we advise those that observe, is look for the opportunity. A mentor of mine once said to me, opportunity favors the prepared, right? So if you're looking and you're seeing that your industry is changing or your jobs are changing, do I need to take a different course? Do I need to take more responsibilities? Do I enroll into micro-credentials? What do I do to allow myself to be prepared for when the opportunity arises? Then you can jump at it and be successful because you've already been thinking about it. You see, right? And then that leads me to the last piece of advice, which is, as you strive for success with kindness. There is not enough kindness in this world. And there's a lot of examples out there you've probably seen in the media of individuals who strive for success in an unkind way, right? People that push people down or push people away. So what I recommend, and it's a philosophy I live by, is instead of pushing people down around you, I like to look to the people around me and I like to lift them up, right? If you have someone on your team that is hurting, listen to them. If they're nervous, reassure them. If they're successful, you celebrate them, right? If they're hurting, you help them, right? What I found through that whole process, you surround a team and they rise with you, right? And in fact, they might exceed you. But the cool thing is, if they exceed you, they'll lift you up. You'll be successful and you'll be with people that you love. So that is enough from me. This is a time for you to celebrate. Congratulations and thank you.